The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining our global webinar day on Netflow monitoring and analysis using Infosim StableNet. We will start in about 1 minute just to give everybody a chance to log in and join our session in time, so bear with me. I'll be back in less than a minute now. Welcome again everybody, and thank you for joining our global webinar day on Netflow monitoring and analysis using Infosim StableNet. My name is Dietmar Kneidl with Infosim, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. Our presenter is David Poulton, COO Infosim UK, and he will guide you through the presentation. Before I hand over to Dave, just wanted today's audience to know that all of you are automatically muted to keep down the background noise. So in order for us to answer your questions, you will have to type them in the questions window at the bottom of the meeting screen. Dave will be answering all questions right after the presentation in our Q&A session, so after the presentation we'll keep the session open for as long as you have questions. Also, please note that this event is being recorded and all registrants will be notified via email tomorrow on how to access the recording. And now, I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to our presenter, Dave Poulton. Dave?
Hi there, Dietmar. Thanks very much. Hello everyone, and welcome to this short presentation on Netflow monitoring and analysis using Infosim StableNet. StableNet is a unified network management system available in two options: the telco version for communication, internet and managed service providers, and enterprise for corporations, service integrators, IT and managed services. About Infosim. Infosim is a leading manufacturer of automated service fulfillment and service assurance solutions for telcos, systems integrators, managed service providers and enterprise corporations. Since 2003, Infosim has developed and marketed StableNet, the leading unified management solution for fault, performance and configuration management. And Infosim is privately held with offices in Austin, Texas, and additional offices in Germany, United Kingdom and Singapore. Infosim's global customer list from business sector customers, as previously stated, Infosim is a global company, and as you can see, this is reflected in this slide here. We deal with some of the largest telecoms companies in the world. We provide value-add functionality to our retail and transport customers by extending our capabilities. For example, the management of EPOS systems in retail outlets to IP telemetry systems in product manufacturing. System integrator and managed service providers are now able to provision a unified multi-tenanted management suite of functionality to their customers and provide greater visibility and increased service availability. And enrich service monitoring of our banking and insurance sector customers and customize solutions for our public sector government areas with high secured siloed options. So let's move on then to the StableNet Framework. StableNet is a unified management system and therefore has an enriched suite of integrated functionality available out of the box. StableNet is also SOA-based or SOA-based and therefore is very flexible from an integration and data flow connection perspective. At the instrumentation layer, we have agents that provide the mechanics for collecting SNMP trap information, flow collection, logging information, and feeding action scripts for activation and provisioning purposes. Agents can be deployed locally or remotely, and typically they are deployed in a hybrid way whereby secure areas of infrastructure can be managed in a way that mitigates any risk. Also, Infosim has recently released the low-cost agent based on the use of the renowned Raspberry Pi, making it exceptionally cost-effective to now deploy agents between every hop within a network infrastructure. I will cover this in a little more detail later in this presentation. Agents provide feeds to the middleware system and where the data is then processed. The StableNet middleware system is a unified suite of functionality that includes configuration management, fault management, and performance management, where the Netflow functionality also resides. Integration to the database, typically Oracle, however we do also support MySQL, and authentication systems such as LDAP, Radius, and TACACS are interconnected here. Then we have the client access, the thick client being used mainly by operational staff for system setup and ongoing configuration and support, and the thin client web portal access for customized views for support staff and customers. At the adapter layer, on the top end part of the framework here, we have the API layer that provides integration for other systems and element managements, such as trouble ticket systems, business-to-business CRM portals, etc. Okay, so Netflow Overview. Netflow is a Cisco-developed flow technology that allows flow monitoring for a given network. The StableNet Netflow Analyzer is a functional capability of the Unified Management System that receives and processes the flow data being sent from the configured flow devices in the network. The flow data is then subjected to deep flow analysis that results in a series of statistical and graphical real-time reporting. So, enabling Netflow within key parts of your infrastructure will provide that deeper visibility around the traffic types traversing the network or a particular segment of your network. Having the ability to configure and customize top-end reports to visualize the connection dynamics or to see who or what is consuming your bandwidth, and drilling down to specific interfaces on selected devices in order to gain deeper visibility of the connection and application usage at a specific entry or exit point of your network. Having application awareness or awareness of the applications that are typically used on a particular part of your network or segment or specific interface. With network convergence of voice, video and media services now demanding real-time application performance and packet acceleration through the use of QoS, being able to visualize the QoS markings and bandwidth consumptions per marking on a given network or segment is fundamental to your QoS policy assurance and compliance. And being able to understand the autonomous systems and protocols in use, again per network, location or segment, is fundamental in building a baseline. The StableNet Netflow interface allows for tabular selection of your choice. Simply select a tab, customize the time interval required, and apply the filter of a specific device or interface or link and plot the results. Drill into top conversations on a particular interface or device, or look at the QoS that's on a particular interface to make sure that all traffic is being matched as per the QoS policies that's configured for that. Or simply pull up the table view to see the connection dynamics, which in turn can be exported for further data manipulation or visualization purposes. You can apply specific Netflow measurements to identify devices or interfaces on a particular network or segment or interface. Then simply analyze the chart types you need to customize. You can customize them to specific date times and time intervals, etc. And then what you can do is apply SLA markers for compliance purposes, for policing, or more importantly, for traffic deviation. So when you start to baseline your network, you'll know you can set these for alarm and alerting on traffic deviation, which I'll come on to in a little bit more detail. StableNet incorporates the following flow technology: Cisco Netflow, Juniper JFlow, IPFix, SFlow, and NetStream. Netflow Baseline. There is a greater need for identifying crucial areas of your network and baselining that network or network segment in order to fully understand what the normal operating tolerances are. Today's modern data infrastructures have time-critical applications that rely so much on speed that delay and transient latency, inter-packet delay, end-to-end performance and transactional response times are an essential business monitoring requirement. Baseline your network using Netflow. Assess a Netflow infrastructure for suitability of provisioning services like VoIP or wireless or IPTV, etc. End user performance experience. Know what your normal modus operandi is so that you can identify and alert on any deviation from that known state. Monitor, measure and trend the effects of infrastructure changes. So once you know your normal operating tolerances, apply those SLA markers to alert and notify if and when changes occur. Know your applications that are used on a particular part of your network or segment, and track the changes, in use, and if new introduction of new apps, etc. Appear. Project future performance states based upon modeled current data collection. So used in combination with StableNet's comprehensive performance management system, you can start to report on trends and forecast future performance states, which will allow you to take action on potential future performance issues and bottlenecks before they occur. Netflow Secure Forensics. Enabling Netflow at the entry and exit points of your network increases visibility of the connection dynamics of the data flows entering and exiting your corporate infrastructure. It also extends the visibility of your existing security systems, providing a more comprehensive addition to complement intrusion detection, IDS, IPS systems, or your SIM-SEM security and event management solutions. So it further eliminates potential network blind spots. Netflow assists in identifying traffic deviation from the normal or baseline operating performance. This is why it's so important to baseline critical segments of your network infrastructure. Baseline the entry and exit points of your corporate infrastructure and identify the traffic and connection dynamics. So really start to understand how your traffic and what types of traffic and connections occur on a particular entry point into your network or exit point. Then analyze the traffic to determine the normal business operation or utilization. So what are the minimum, average and peak levels? I mean, this is really important from a business operation point of view, i.e. in the summertime, you know, August time, your performance may well be lower, and so forth. So therefore you can set your markers or tolerances lower to actually alarm on deviation. Or around sort of March time, your financial applications, you know, are more active due to year end, and therefore levels of performance, you know, rise, and so you can change accordingly. Actually, understanding and knowing that makes the baselining of your network so much more easier to then control if anything from the norm starts to occur. Configure the SLA threshold markers that I spoke about earlier to proactively alert and inform when traffic deviation breaches occur. So, you know, you can start to apply these around important areas of your network to to monitor the usage and track for any deviation that could, point to or potentially point to a DDoS attack or some attack of some sort. StableNet has a plethora of reports that can be customized automatically, forwarded to approved recipients and exported for further data manipulation and visualization purposes. Capturing detail of each flow in a given network or on a particular interface enables greater visibility with drill-down detail. For example, having the ability to determine the distribution of packet sizes across the network allows you to understand what the normal packet size distribution is, and therefore track for deviation in what is acceptable or ascertain if packet sizes within the flows are increasing, which could be a sign of attack. Track the deviation of excessive flow increases, which could point to DDoS attacks. And track, monitor and alert on the deviation of bidirectional flows of specific interfaces, especially those that are entering your corporate infrastructure from maybe the internet or third-party integrations. So Netflow deployment. Netflow, as we have discussed within this presentation, is an extremely useful functionality to enable on router and switching devices located within your corporation's infrastructure. However, you do need to think about the mechanics and plan what you wish to achieve. Identifying the locations within your infrastructure where you wish to enable Netflow functionality. If you looking to enable Netflow functionality everywhere, then you could start to potentially run into some serious sort of storage area problems, etc. Identify where best to install the Netflow collection agents, so where you want to point your flows to, those collectors. Think about the increase in bandwidth when enabling Netflow. How long do you wish to keep Netflow data for? And indeed, it has a knock-on effect, so understanding the storage requirements for long-term historical reporting and the sizing of your database. Hence, point one on there, if you turn it on everywhere, you've got you've got to put in some big storage capability in order to keep historical data. Entry-exit points is certainly the best way to look at where you want to start with deployment. And before enabling Netflow, check that the device has enough processing and memory to handle it being switched on. Otherwise, you may well experience router switch meltdown, which I have seen in the past, and it can be quite difficult to restore service when switched on, without actually someone being physically at the site. So just bear that in mind. So Unified Performance Management in combination with Netflow and the new low-cost agent I mentioned earlier in this presentation is a great addition to just deploying Netflow everywhere. StableNet, is stated a number of times in this presentation, is a unified management system. So using Netflow in combination with the performance management function provides enriched performance reporting and is a real alternative when designing and deploying your Netflow strategy. And we now have the ability to provision even greater visibility using our low-cost agent technology. Real-time performance of round-trip time, jitter, packet loss, delay, etc. between hops allows for quick and accurate determination of performance degradation, or proving that your QoS is being marked and trusted correctly between each hop of your infrastructure is now a reality with the use of the LCA low-cost agent from StableNet. This is why we say our Netflow functionality is different from other vendors' offerings, because StableNet has a unique suite of capability that when used together provides a very complete end-to-end picture of your infrastructure and services. The Raspberry Pi agent, or low-cost agent, as you can see, is small and very easy to install and support. The operating system, agent software and media scripts for synthetic measurement reporting are all located on the SD card. So if you experience a failure, you simply insert the SD card into a new device and you're back up and working. These devices cost between $50 and $75 and makes large-scale deployment really cost-effective. Visualization of your infrastructure in a way you have never experienced before is now a reality using StableNet. There is a Netflow whitepaper which goes into a lot more detail than this presentation, and you can download that at infosim.net/Netflow. You can just literally go in there, fill in the details, and download that paper. Okay, so I think I'll hand back to Dietmar now for any Q&A.
Thank you very much, Dave. And so far, we don't have any questions from our audience today, but I guess we'll just leave the session open for anyone who would like to type in a question right now. So I guess we'll just give it a minute. And regarding that picture you showed us, the left thing was your iPhone, wasn't it? It was not a Luxus version of our low-cost agent.
So let me just go back there. That is correct. It's just to show the size of the agent against an iPhone, so it gives you an idea of the size. So these things are are really cost effective, and the kind of visualization you can see between every hop of a network or a service is really is really a different way of viewing your entire infrastructure now.
All right, perhaps one more thing to mention, that in the future, probably early next year, not before Christmas, we will have another webinar that will go into more details on how to set up these low-cost agents. Okay, we have our first question, and question is if we have planned to support third-party anti-DDoS migration devices from Radware, Juniper, Fortinet, etc. Perhaps you could elaborate on that, Dave.
Sorry, could you just
if we have planned to support third-party anti-DDoS migration server devices like Radware, Juniper, Fortinet, etc.
I would need to speak to our technical support team to basically get more info on that question, but certainly we can hold that and just come back to answer that after speaking with them.
Okay, there's an addendum to that question. So what the audience would like to know is if actually if you have the functionality like Arbor, for instance.
I believe we do have that type of functionality in there. Again, our technical support would need to clarify that before we send out anything.
Okay. We have another question about the difference between the agent and the agentless. I assume talking about the difference between the standard StableNet agent and the low-cost agent.
Well, obviously the standard agent is sized dependent on the amount of measurements, etc., that you wish to push to it. So essentially, if you're managing devices, you would be using your standard agent. I think the low-cost agent is really there for running synthetic measurements that allows you to really track real-time statistics between each hop of your network or end-to-end service.
just like to add something to that. Actually, the features that are available on the agent and the low-cost agents are more or less the same, except for features that obviously require more memory or more CPU time. I mean, the Raspberry Pi has 500 something megabytes memory. And well, if you start more than one JavaScript, a Java instance is around 60, 70, 80 megabytes in memory. So I think you can probably imagine that not more than one or two of those scripts are able to run on the same Raspberry Pi. Another question from our audience, Dave, can you elaborate on how you can manage the SLA for a specific customer?
Yeah, well, so if it was, you know, depends on what kind of metric you want. So, for instance, if it was a round-trip time SLA, then you know, you can start to put in the contractual SLAs and configure those in the system itself to you know, to look at round-trip time. So if you've got an SLA that's got a round-trip time between here and or the UK and Paris, or London and Paris, and it's 30 milliseconds, then you can essentially put an SLA against that round-trip time and report on that accordingly. So if it's an SLA that's service-based, then you can effectively collate the SLAs, the different layers, to pull up a complete end-to-end service SLA. So, and you do that through derived monitors and that through the system itself. So there are, you know, there are a number of ways to do it, but yes, we can do that.
We have a pretty active audience today. I have another question here. What do we offer more than other vendors, for instance, InfoVista?
Oh, well, so InfoVista, for instance, is just a performance reporting tool that also has Netflow capability. I think ours is a unified management system, so we're not just doing everything that InfoVista does from a performance management point of view and Netflow point of view. We also, because it's unified, we have integrated fault management and configuration management. So if you have a you know, a peaking network on the performance graph and it's causing performance issues, you can actually see those performance issues in the fault management area because it's an integrated fault system. So that's where our USPs, if you like, in StableNet being unified comes in, and you're not having to look at different element managers to start going around and tracking through potential problems. You can see what those problems are. Using Netflow as well, obviously you can see what connections are causing those high peaks or potential bottlenecks.
Okay. We have a couple of more questions. For instance, what about the scripts to major layer 2 or layer 3 VPNs? I assume this is in regarding of the low-cost agent as well.
Yeah, there's a whole scripting document we can send out to people if they want to request that. That actually shows all the scripts that are available or that's on the low-cost agent. So you can see that there's quite a number of different script types. So there is a document that's available. So if we take that person's name and ask that, we can send that to them.
Yeah, well, it's all in the question, so I can forward that later. Also, a question we had on our webinar we did actually in our time zone this morning for our colleagues in Asia about lifetime of the database. That was something we've had before, so we have a document for that as well. There is another more technical question about the Infosim hardware probes. If we already support hardware timestamping on a microseconds level for jitter and packet loss measurements in order to be competitive with Helium SLA probes, especially for high-frequency financial services. I don't know, Dave, if you have any experience with that in the UK market, but we have encountered something similar here in Germany with one of our customers that actually is a bank, where well, those time stampings in the millisecond level and the microsecond level, I'm sorry, are already being done. And but in order to elaborate on that, we would have to have someone more technical in this webinar.
Yeah, I think what they're asking there is maybe the timestamp of inter-packet delay between hops, and yeah, we again would need to get more deeper into that. We need to just get our support team to reply to that.
Okay, we have actually 7 or 8 more questions, but all of those are highly technical. We will leave the session open for a couple of more minutes, so that you can all type in those technical questions. All of those questions are being recorded, and we'll get to each and every one of them. It's one question that maybe is interesting, and we should perhaps answer in this round from one of our audiences, from their perspective and experience. The Netflow reporting in StableNet can be very performance intensive. So how would this fit in with the LCA? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and quite frankly, we probably wouldn't recommend that you're using Netflow on the LCA for any kind of long-term reporting capability. You really want to use a much more higher spec agent with the right storage capacity for that. That's why I was saying earlier about before you deploy, or when you're thinking of deploying Netflow, you really need to consider where you're going to put your Netflow collection agents and where you're going to point your Netflows to. So because you'd need to size those agents according to whatever your strategy or your requirement is. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I guess this pretty much concludes our session for today. Just wanted to thank everyone for joining us here, and as mentioned earlier, a recording of this webinar and the Q&A session will be made available to all of you tomorrow via email. Again, if you have any more questions, we'll keep the session open for a couple of more minutes. Also, feel free to contact either Dave, myself, or any other member of the sales staff with Infosim if you need additional information. All of the questions you've typed in are recorded, and we will forward them to the sales and technical people in charge. So thanks again very much for joining us today, and I guess it's almost time to let you go back to your work. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.